role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date, Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue, Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time, 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofade, 081-063-41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090-454-00744. Signed, Management. From live across the
Good morning and welcome to ATN Blowout. Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion and stakeholders analysis. Today we'll be looking at these stories. Oyo State, attackers invade ex-deputy governor residence, destroy property. Ebonyi State, APC Publicity Secretary arrested for kidnap killing. And in economy, NNPCL increases fuel again in less than 24 hours. Again in economy, FAN MD calls for passenger traffic through reform. 2027 elections, rising opposition attacks sparks concern. El Rufai, charge him or release him now, coalition. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X at Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We're going for a short commercial break. When I return, I will introduce my guest for today. Welcome back. Joining me in the studio today is our public affairs analyst. On my right, I have Mr. George Deima. Good morning, Mr. Deima.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Yes, how do you do? And Happy New Week.
Happy New Week is an amazing week.
Okay. On my left, I have Mr. Brantley Chinda. I think this is his first day in my studio. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Week to you as well.
My best wishes as well.
Okay. All right, let's get into today's stories. Valuables including vehicles and other property worth millions of naira were destroyed on Saturday when suspected political thugs launched coordinated attacks on the private residence of former Oyo State Deputy Governor Hazim Bolarumi at Asi in Ibadan, North Local Government Area, Ibadan. Bolarumi is a chieftain of a faction of the People's Democratic Party scheduled to hold its nationwide state congress on Saturday. Investigations revealed that no fewer than 10 people sustained injuries of varying degrees in separate incidents across the state. However, when contacted, the Oyo State Police Public Relations Officer, Olayinka Ayalade, said the attack had nothing to do with the party's state congress. The police spokesperson said the incident was under investigation and that appropriate action will be taken against the perpetrators. Meanwhile, the chairman of one of the party factions in the states, Abdurrahim Akinoso, said similar attacks were recorded in other parts of Oyo State. Nigeria violence elections. It seems like it goes hand in hand, especially when elections are drawing near. We've seen various attacks on various individuals who are vying for different positions, come the 2027 general elections, from Peter Obi to our former governor, Rotimi Amechi. And now, Oyo State, we've seen different political attacks, although their police spokesperson is denying it to be attributed to the coming APC Congress. Mr. Deima, what do you have to say about this, Nigeria and then actual violence? What could be the root causes?
There are many factors that can be responsible for electoral violence in a society and in a nation. Despite the fact that the police have said that that has no political connotation, we still need to remind ourselves the dangers of political violence, pre-election and post-election violence. And it has become a very, like a parasite in our political system, where politicians resort to violence in achieving their political objectives or their political ambitions. But it is not rocket science. It doesn't just happen. There's a lot of factors that is responsible for a politically tensed environment. You look at the political language, you look at the rhetorics, you look at the kind of ideology some of these politicians have, that they feel that they're going to get into power, they're going to acquire power, they're going to have everything by force. They don't realize that in a political process, it should be like a debate where people come to express their ideas. And when people express their ideas, the voters are going to decide who they're going to vote for, who they're going to elect. But when you make where it's a toxic political climate or a toxic political culture, some persons feel that they have to take it by force. And that is very bad for our democracy. But in a political system where the political players realize that we are to sell our vision for the people, we are to sell our ideas to the people, we are to sell what we can do for the people. It's like a product. What product do you have, right? And it's like a football match. You might win, you might lose, and you congratulate the winner, and then there is this spirit of sportsmanship. But when we fail to have that in our political system, you see that some persons feel that it is by force, and their language, their conduct, their ideology, their behavioral patterns, their mindset is structured in a violent approach. I think we need to do more in terms of also sensitizing people at the grassroots, because that's where mostly they recruit the thugs, the political thugs that will help them perpetrate and facilitate their political violence and their political grab all ideology.
All right, Mr. Brantley, Mr. Daima has actually pointed out a few reasons for the violent nature in our politics when it comes in Nigeria. Now, I would like us to look at also the role political actors play. He also pointed out that sometimes these politicians, their rhetorics, the way they go about their campaigning, it's actually ignites violence in people. Politics or election period is supposed to be about, you know, telling people about your policy or speaking to them about your policy and then giving them the opportunity, a reason to vote you into power. But here in this part, it seems like these politicians have seen it as their right, by fire, by force. We have to be in office whichever way necessary, without actually thinking about the same people they are meant to govern in the process. So, in terms of holding the political actors, what role do they have to play in political violence in Nigeria?
Okay. I'll actually say that the governor of the state has a bigger role to play in this, because whenever issues arises in a state, they reach out to the governor first, because he's the head of security in the state, most especially. And if he's not saying anything about this, the insecurity in the state currently, I don't, because it's an internal party affair, I must say honestly. It's an internal party affair. And security in a state starts not just with the governor, it starts with me and you. So what are they putting in place to write this thing off? It's not just politically based. We're talking about security. We're talking about security, and it's so unfortunate that it's got to be part of an ex-deputy governor of the state, and it's uncalled for.
Okay, it's quite uncalled for. So, from what Mr. Chinda is saying, sometimes the governor of a state should be held responsible, because especially when it comes to the inner party plays, because this, even though the police has come out to like deny it, this is, you know, towards the APC Congress, and then obviously it's like different factions coming together or different factions vying for the same position. As the governor of a state, who is supposed to be the head of security of a state, should they be held responsible when such incidents occur?
Well, beyond politics, if you try to separate the politics for a bit, security has to do with everyone. It's an everybody's business. But then, before an incident or a security breach or a security attack like this will happen, there are underlying factors. And I'm very excited that the police is investigating, so we must allow the investigation to play out for them to come with a report on what are the drivers and the root causes of the security threats or the security breach that has affected a former deputy governor of the state. But it is not just we are hearing about it because possibly this is a known figure in the state. There is a lot of security threats to millions of Nigerians every single day, and it doesn't get to the news. There are many people that are kidnapped, many people that are killed, many people that are robbed, many people that their properties are destroyed and vandalized, many people that are faced with a lot of security issues. So the issue of security is an inclusive, it requires an inclusive approach. While the governor plays a very important role as a chief security officer of the state and is entitled to a security budget, and he has to work with the security agencies, but despite that, there must be a structure put in place to ensure that when security issues and threats like this happen, those that are involved, that are culpable, those that are the criminal minds behind these security threats should be prosecuted to serve as a deterrent to others. But when there is no prosecution, where there is no deterrence, impunity becomes the order of the day. When you have a system where people commit crimes and they walk free, it emboldens others to see it as we can do it and we can go free. But when people are punished in accordance with the laws of the nation, you see that it will deter them from taking arms or involved in such criminal security threats against the citizens of the country.
All right. Let's move on quickly to Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State government has confirmed the arrest of the publicity secretary of the All Progressives Congress in the state, Mr. Simbad Obrati, over his alleged involvement in the kidnapping and killing of the traditional ruler of Indufu Alike community in Uko local government area, Chief Francis Igwe. According to reports that Governor Francis Nwifuru disclosed this on Saturday during a condolence visit to the family of the late monarch. Igwe, who is a father of a former deputy governor of the state, Kelechi Igwe, was abducted by suspected kidnappers and later died in their custody after reportedly sustaining injuries from physical assault. According to the governor, Obratu came under investigation after security agencies traced a bank account allegedly used in the ransom negotiations to him. Nwifuru said the information linking the APC official to the case first came to his attention during a party meeting. Another case of violence, and this is actually also involving one politician to another, and this time the unfortunate victim was even the father of his opponent. Mr. Deima, again, Nigerian politics and violence, is there no way that we can have an election or we can actually vie for different positions without violence in Nigeria?
Well, to achieve a peaceful society requires the input of the citizens. Peace is not something that just falls from the sky. It's not an object that just falls from the sky. It requires the collective contribution of people. People need to participate in it. The security threats facing our nation today calls for critical thinking and thinking outside the box. The kidnapping issue has become a serious problem. Now, in this case, the traditional ruler was kidnapped. When we want to address security issues, we don't just look at the military approach alone or the reactive approach alone. We also need to look at the social justice issues that affect what drives people into crime, what drives people into kidnapping, what drives a lot of our young people. Why are they seeing kidnapping as an industry? What fuels this kidnapping? What are the drivers of it? What are the agents that facilitate this state of crime and insecurity in our nation? One of it is poverty. That does not excuse for the criminal behavior of those involved. But we must address the fundamental issues, because it's easy for them to recruit people. There is some incentive to it. Like when there is an incentivized crime scene, you need to look at what are those incentives that are pulling a lot of young people into kidnapping, banditry, and all these terror activities.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the people involved are not who you would categorize as poor or uneducated. This is the publicity secretary of APC in that state, and then the person that was kidnapped was the father of a former ex-deputy governor of that state as well.
Yeah.
So in this instance, is it justifiable to say due to poverty-related issues, they got involved in kidnappings and what's not?
There are different levels. The kidnapping is like a pyramid. I'm looking at the bottom part where you have the recruits, like the people at the top who are getting these boys. They might be rich and well-to-do. They might have money. But the people, the field men, those on the field, they are foot soldiers, are mostly poor, most times ignorant young people that they recruit. You cannot come and recruit someone like me that I should go and involve in a kidnap plot. You won't even have access to me for me to do that. I won't want to do that because I have values and I'm informed and I'm educated. But I'm talking about the recruitment process, because you have to look at the recruitment process. Who are those that are recruiting to go and commit these acts of kidnapping? Now, these politicians and the political class, they look out for people that they can easily exploit, and then they flash them with money and other incentives. So if you just like when you talk about terrorism financing, if you deal with issues of terrorism in a society or in a nation, you have to look at the financing aspect of it, the financing mechanism. Those people that are involved in financing these terror activities. And if you cut off that financing, you will significantly address and reduce the issues of terrorism in the society. In the same vein, when you look at the issues of kidnapping, in this state now, a traditional ruler was kidnapped and he died. Now you have to look at intelligence gathering, track. There's a lot of technology you can put in place, like, because these people, I'm happy that they are making progress, the security agencies, but let us look at it on the broader level. There are some people that have been kidnapped that they are not linked to a politician and all that. What is the fate of those people? There are passengers, there are citizens who are traveling and they've been kidnapped on the roads, and some of them have been beaten, they've been humiliated, and they die. And you don't see any serious efforts put in place to, and you even see these kidnappers making videos and all that. Why can't you track them and prosecute them so that it will serve as a deterrent to others? So these are ways that we can address this issue, because it's a serious one in the nation. Okay,
Brantley.
Okay.
Yes, especially in this situation, the APC Publicity Secretary, a man of such standing, was arrested, and if all goes well, will face the arm of the law. But Mr. Dama actually also pointed out something. Sometimes people that get kidnapped, or the individuals that are involved in kidnapping, go scot-free, and then the victims either lose their lives and then nobody hears from them again, and they don't get to see or get to witness justice. Would you say reverse is the case because of the individuals involved? Because first of all, it's a monarch that was kidnapped and killed, and then his son was a former deputy governor, and then the people involved, the person involved or part of the kidnappers is also APC Publicity Secretary. Looking at the high profile of the case, could that be the reason why we've seen justice, or we've seen some sort of justice in this situation?
When I hear cases like this, I just I feel a bit ashamed, because it's unfortunate that we have security operatives in states like that, and most people go scot-free with such atrocities, and it's not nice. And he pointed out something about kidnapping relating to poverty. I wouldn't say that. Poverty is out of the mind, and if you go into or you involve yourself in kidnapping because of your background or your situation on how to get things done for yourself, it's not the right way to go. That's why I said poverty is out of the mind. And I just believe the security of Ebonyi State will look into this matter, because I know honestly that the president is trying as much as possible to get insecurity out of the country, Nigeria itself. But it doesn't just only work from the national axis. There are rules to be played on the local government level and the state level. There are individuals that can be put in place to make sure these things are written off entirely. And I pray and I hope that these people that have committed such atrocities are put to justice. I honestly wish it's going to come into play.
And Mr. Dama, same question to you. Would you say we're seeing some sort of justice because of the individuals involved in this crime? We're looking at a monarch, and then also the former. We're looking at a monarch, and then also the son. The monarch's son is a former deputy governor. Would you say that's the reason why we're seeing this thing play out the way it is? Because you also pointed that out, most of the time, individuals involved in kidnapping get benefits, and then the kidnapped victims are also never heard of again, and then they don't get to see justice.
Well, it's a high-profile person, no doubt that the person is going to get quick justice, and the security agencies will work very assiduously to ensure they unravel the people involved, and that's why you're seeing progress. But Having said that, I believe that the security issues that we are faced with requires a lot of grassroots approach, because most of these people that are involved in these crimes, they are not spirits or ghosts. They are not operating in a different planets. They have places where they hide. They have places where they keep their victims. So it involves also intelligence sharing. But I think one of the problems we have in our society is that a lot of people have lost faith in the system. For example, you are aware that there is a kidnap den or a kidnap area, and you want to share information with the security agency. You want to be sure that you will be safeguarded, like a whistleblower safeguard policy, that your identity will not be revealed to the kidnappers and you'll be killed or something bad will happen to you. So when we build trust in the system, it will help people to share information, because kidnapping, just like in the United States of America, they are dealing with issues of drug within their hemisphere. There's a lot of intelligence sharing, intelligence gathering, and cooperation with countries within that hemisphere. They are doing a lot of programs. Recently, they have the American Shield, where they have presidents from countries within that hemisphere meeting together to share intelligence, cooperate in terms of security, share technology, and all that kind of critical support and infrastructure to address these issues of security, not waiting for the security threats to escalate, but from the very preliminary stages, you are tracking it, you are dealing with it. So we don't really have enough security manpower that can man every single, every mile, every geographical point in our country, because we're a nation of over 200 million people, and we have I don't think we have up to 2 million in total number of our security armed forces, both the police, the army, the air force. So we need to have more manpower, we need to have more intelligence gathering and intelligence sharing, and we need to ensure that justice is not just for a selected few, that the average Nigerian should have access to justice and to have access to security. That will also require reforms in our judiciary to ensure that there is a kind of an open up to get more people having access to justice.
All right. Do you have any final word before we move on to our next story?
Okay. Like he rightly said, we need to really look into the security agencies and the people holding these informations, because we don't. It's not nice where people commit atrocities as very detailed as this and they go scot-free. I don't know, that's why when I speak I always talk about the state government. Politics is not just, it's like he said, it's played from the grassroots. What are they doing? What is the governor doing? What's the local government doing? And the councillors at the world level, what are they doing to make sure this thing is out of the states and the local governments entirely?
All right. Moving on to our economy. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and other filling stations have increased their premium motor spirits pump price for the second time in less than 24 hours, following Dangote Refinery's gantry price hike. The state-owned oil firm on Sunday adjusted its pump price from 967 naira to 1,082 naira per litre in Abuja and its environs, representing a 115 naira increase per litre. This followed an earlier adjustment from 960 naira to 967 naira, also reported. With the latest hike, NNPCL retail outlets have raised petrol prices by 207 naira in less than a week. According to reports, the latest prices have been implemented across NNPCL retail outlets in Kubwa Expressway, Gwarimpa, Wuse Zone 6, Zone 4, and Life Camp. 2 times in less than 24 hours. I mean, as an economist yourself, Mr. Deima, I'm sure you would have foreseen this, considering what is happening on the world stage. One would have also expected that Nigeria would be more proactive. You know, we have also like-minded economists who should have been able to read to read the indexes to know that, look, with what is going to happen, especially after the Venezuela-US issue, and then with the talks between the Iran and then US as well as Israel, we would have taken proactive measures to ensure that we do not face, if it's crude oil shortage, we do not face that, because we are an oil producing country. We should have enough reserves to be able to, hold our people down in these times. But less than how many, we just saw the first stage of this crude war, and then we are already seeing increased hike in our petrol. Dangote had held things down for so long, but he's just one person. He can't do everything on his own. What do you have to say concerning this, Mr. Dema?
Well, it's a topic that is very, very dear to my heart, but I would say that we don't have an economic problem, we have a leadership problem. I spoke on this topic on a radio station some couple of days ago, and I clearly stated that when you look at our energy security, we are very vulnerable. I say we don't have an economic problem, we have a leadership problem, because this issue of fuel hike is not happening for the first time. It has happened many times. Now, when you look at our energy sector and you look at our, in terms of the supply and the exports, then the premium motor spirit, which is widely consumed in the country, and if you look at the statistics, imports, I think above 60% of our total of the premium motor spirit PMS that we are using. We are importing like a significant percentage of the fuel, the premium motor spirit that we are using is imported. So it's not rocket science. We have not put in place the infrastructure for self-sufficiency. We are in a state of dependency. And when you look at the energy sector, the refineries, how many refineries are functioning? A country of over 200 million people that depends so much, that is so addicted to PMS. It is used for transportation, it helps us in terms of supply chain, it is used for, practically, it's a major source of energy for transportation. And yet we don't have the infrastructure. Most of our government-owned refineries are not functioning, right? They are not really productive. That's why we have few players like Dangote that are trying to bridge the gap and meet up with the high demand. But when you have just few players, there's tendency that they can decide to inflate the price. I'm not accusing them of doing that, but when you have few players, there's going to be a lot of pressure on their parts. I really appreciate what Dangote. Imagine we don't have Dangote refinery. Why can't we have states? I recommended in a platform like this that what we need, for example, look at the Niger Delta states, the South states, the oil producing states. Because we are in a state of dependency, we are not productive, we are not building the infrastructure to ensure energy security. I recommended as an economist that, having carried out a close observation and research, and I recommended that the governors of the South state, the oil producing state, in their yearly budget should devote at least 5% of the total budget to be invested in an energy security fund, where there should be collaboration with refineries, modular refineries, empower a lot of our young people. Most of them in the creeks, in the mangroves, they are involved in oil bunkering. That's the illegal aspect of it. This is blow up those pipelines, pollute our waterways, pollute our rivers, destroy our aquatic habitat and marine lifestyle, destroy the sea animals. It's a threat to our air quality and survival. Why not engage these young people, train them, empower them, keep them, partner with the federal government, give licenses to private individuals that want to establish modular refineries. For example, like as a state, Rivers State, if we have like 20-25 modular refineries, there will be more supply. So naturally, the price is going to reduce. People have access to it. We cannot continue to attach ourselves to the international politics and international crisis, and then we pin it down to, there is a war between the United States, Israel, and Iran, and the strategic supply routes that ships pass through to export oil is being threatened, and so the price of oil in the international market we should benefit more. We are a major exporter of crude oil. And when the price of the barrel of oil rises to $100 per barrel, we are making more revenue, right, into our foreign exchange. And so why is it that the citizens of an oil-producing nation, we are not just the only oil-producing nation, Angola is an African country, they are also an oil-exporting other countries, we have the United Arab Emirates, we have Qatar, we have producing countries. Then go look at how their citizens are benefiting from their oil wealth. That's because they have put in place infrastructure, they have put in place the technology, they have put in place the security to strengthen their energy sector. Because energy security is national security. You cannot gamble by allowing your own energy sector to be gambling in between what happens in the international oil market. Yes, there should be some stability. You are not in total control of what happens in the international oil market, but you can put in place the infrastructure that will help to stabilize the system in your country, that your people can have access to the black gold that is being extracted from their own soil without you playing politics of people, because it impacts on the health of people. Do you know that if there's an emergency, for example, and they want to rush someone to the hospital, you need an ambulance. What if the person cannot afford to get an ambulance? The person cannot pay fuel for the PMS, and it's expensive. Lives will be lost. It impacts on the education. It impacts on every aspect of our productivity as a nation. So when you see energy security as national security, you will not be gambling and just political rhetorics and just the blame game of international oil prices.
Mr. Brantley, we have enough crude. Nigeria is an oil-producing country. We are not meant to be seeing full price hike this soon, even if international market is right now volatile. Other countries, just like Mr. Dama has pointed out, are equally, oil-producing countries, but you don't not see their people crying out for price in full hike. It might happen sooner or later, sooner rather than later. But for now, their market's a bit in that country. It's a bit their full price. What could be the cause? Why is it that our country is more reactive than proactive? Why can't we put in place to ensure that this does not happen all the time? We have refineries that invested billions and billions and billions into, but to date they're not working, and we are relying heavily on Dangote for most of our crude and fuel needs. What do you have to say concerning this one?
Okay. I'll first of all ask, how many reserves are left? And how many refineries are here in Nigeria? When we trade in the foreign exchange market, sometimes the market is usually volatile, and it affects everything. Like it was pointed out as well, the recent crisis between Iran and the U.S. government, it affected, if you notice, their refinery was blown. And that's actually one of the bases of the foreign exchange market, with the likes of the U.S. Involvement in this. We're supposed to understand that the foreign exchange market is the base of trades generally. That's where we start first before it comes down to other countries and the rural levels. So when we're having issues like that in the foreign exchange market, definitely it's going to affect every other countries and their supply base. It's going to affect them because the increase in the price of PMS, the premium motor spirit, it's as a result of the price hike in the crude oil. So because it's actually refined from crude. So if there is a price hike in the crude oil, it actually affects the premium motor spirit. So let's actually face the fact that we are trying to deal with issues at the international level, where there's issues between the US government and Iraq. A lot of countries are facing setbacks from this same issue. It's not Nigeria alone. And I know Dangote in his own way is trying as much as possible to assist the country. It's not an easy task on his side. It's not an easy task. I know he's trying as much as possible to bring us back to our base.
Okay. But should it be up to Dangote to try as much as possible to bring us back to base? I mean, like you rightfully mentioned, when there is competition, it helps drive up a very positive market. But when we have monopoly, I'm not saying that Dangote is monopolizing, because at the end of the day, it falls back to our federal government. If our refineries were working, if more individuals were involved in the crude market, we would not be seeing price volatility, or we will not be seeing one person controlling the price in our crude or in our premium motor spirits. What do you have to say concerning that, Mr. Dema?
The fact is that we don't have control of our oil industry. The oil industry is a very complex industry, and yes, you might not influence what is happening in the international political space that impacts on the economy. Yes, but you can put in place structure in your own country that will help to cushion the effects of what plays out in the international oil market. Now, when you talk working for the people, what system is that? How do you put in place that system? How do you ensure that the price of PMS in one of the largest exporter of crude oil is accessible to Nigerians, that they can benefit from what is being extracted from their soil? It's infrastructure, security, put in place technology, put in place the training, open up the sector that private players can partner in what we call the public-private partnership. Private players can partner with the government, because the government cannot put in place all the infrastructure. When you have private players come in, partner with the government, open up more refineries, put in place the infrastructure, and you look at the downstream sector, you have to talk about the supply, the transportation. Even the transportation have to be reformed. What you have now is heavy tankers that carry PMS from one state to the other. You could look at other means of transportation, maybe through the rail or other forms of transporting these products to the people, that there will be no too much impact on our roads and time. You can imagine the time you have to transport PMS from Lagos to Port Harcourt, or from Port Harcourt to Kaduna. Just imagine the time. So how do we ensure supply chain reforms? Supply chain reforms in the oil and gas industry requires critical thinking and thinking outside the box, looking at improving on our infrastructure, opening up other sectors that have been abandoned and forgotten, ensuring that these people can get this product on time, because time is money, and decongests the areas that have been crowded, ensuring that more players come in.
Okay, let's move on quickly. Managing Director of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, Mrs. Olubunmi Kuku, has said boosting passenger traffic in Nigeria will require improvements in the country's business environment and boosting tourism. Kuku also said for Nigeria's hub strategy to be effective, international airports need dedicated transit areas, along with increased aircraft movements and additional points of entry. FAN MD, who spoke on CNBC Africa compared Nigeria to other countries, saying Nigerian passengers traveled less due to the country's gross domestic product, GDP. Again, I think this is also more in your purview, Mr. Daima. How do we translate a boosting economy? Boosting of our economy, our businesses, our tourism, and then to passenger traffic in our airports. I'm sure they correlate in a way, but can you actually expatiate on that for our viewers?
Thank you. When you first of all talk about passenger traffic, you talk about tourism, you talk about the brand. Now, you also need to talk about the infrastructure, because you have to look at the airports. Now, if you want to improve on our tourism sector, we should contribute to our economic growth and development. Nigeria have a lot of tourism potentials, and a lot of our tourism potentials are just lying, they are just untapped. We are not harnessing the potentials in our tourism space. And when you talk about tourism, people are going to travel down. We have domestic tourists within the country. We have international tourists. Many nations, many countries try to drive in international tourists because it will also help to bring in the foreign exchange to the economy. It will also help to create jobs, because these tourists, when they come to visit your country, let's say for example they visit the Tina Resort in Cross River State, and you have tourists coming from Brazil or European nations. They are going to stay in the hotels. That will create more jobs, that will create more employment opportunities, and that will also put food on the table of a lot of Nigerians. Now, how do you ensure that you improve your tourism sector? The very first place when tourists come to your nation or your country that they land is your airport. You have to be intentional in the airport, with the airport infrastructure. It is embarrassing that when tourists visit our nation, there is power failure in the airport. There's electricity. Sometimes electricity goes off. I've been to, and then you ensure that your branding, you don't have people standing around begging and all that, creating this that, you know, they just want to survive by, you know, there's always this wrong impression when people visit the country. The road network, the security, the infrastructure, ensuring that you don't just modernize the airport by painting it, but you put in place a structure and a system that works, professionalism, that when people visit your country, as they move from your airport, they are not seeing trash on the way, on the highway. All they can see is trash, dirt, pieces of plastics all over the road. How serious are you in tourism, right? And also, when they also visit the tourist attractions, are you going to provide security for them? Have you asked yourself, why is it that many tourists are not visiting, coming from diaspora to visit most of our tourist attractions? One of it is security. They read the news, they hear what is going on, they listen to the news and they see. The security must be addressed. See, these things are interrelated. Security to tourism, to airport infrastructure, to branding, to economic growth, they are interrelated. When you improve on the security and the branding and the infrastructure, you see that it will help bring in more foreigners for our tourism sector. Look at Gambia, for example. Gambia is a West African country. I read on the news that it's just like a 4-hour flight to London. It's not too far, you know, Gambia, looking at Senegambia. There's a lot of tourism in Gambia. It's just a small West African country, but they have helped to improve their tourism, and it is helping their economy, despite the fact that they might not have so much resources as we do in Nigeria. But they are harnessing the potential in the tourism sector, creating employment and improving growth. But Nigerians, we are too focused on the crude oil industry that we are not thinking how to open up other sectors and improve our economy. And it requires intentionality. You must be intentional about it, not just talking the politics of it, but ensuring that the policies of it match your speech, right? Not just talking the politics, but ensuring the policies are working to improve the tourism sector.
Okay. Brantley, you as well, how can we boost tourism in Nigeria to, you know, bring in more traffic? The fund is stating that tourism, boosting our economy, boosting our tourism sectors and everything can boost passenger traffic. Airports generate money for our economy. It generates money for Nigeria, and then the more people that uses our airports, the more we're able to boost up our economy. Now, we've had experiences, or people have experienced terrible situations in our airports, from infrastructure to the people to the officials in the airport, and then some of the amenities are not something to write home about. So sometimes even in transit, we have countries that can transit through Nigeria, but we'd rather not do that. We'd rather take the longer route because of some of these problems we are facing in our airports. What do you have to say concerning this problem?
Okay, I'll first of all appreciate the honorable minister, Chief Barrister Ian Wike, for his good works in the FCT, because that's where we start from. When we have tourists visiting the country, they tend to come from the FCT. So he's doing his job there. He has built their airports and the roads linked to the airports, and it's also going to boost the infrastructure and grow our audience at the airports, and also build traffics there as well, because a lot of things have not been put in place. Yes, it's we're going to write it out. Yes, a lot of things have not been put in place. Yeah, but we've seen it. The president, in his own way, he has put in place, like the recent 65 ambassadors that were sent to different countries. The reason was actually to bring in foreign investors, and that is why they are there. It's also going to help us boost our economy as well, and bringing foreign investors to Nigeria, it will help us go a longer way.
All right, let's move on quickly to the Independent National Electoral Commission. INEC yesterday lamented that recurring leadership tussles and protracted intra-party disputes are diverting its attention from core election planning and contributing to voter apathy ahead of the 2027 general elections. Fresh concerns have emerged over Nigeria's political stability ahead of the 2027 general elections, as opposition parties and political stakeholders raised the alarm over a series of violent attacks on opposition leaders, party officers, and political gatherings across the country. Reports of violent incidents involving opposition leaders and their supporters have surfaced in several states in recent weeks, including Kaduna, Kano, Lagos, Kogi, Edo, and Rivers states. The African Democratic Congress, the People Democratic Party, New Nigerian People's Party, and Labour Party have strongly condemned the incidents, alleging that the attacks formed part of a deliberate attempt by the all-ruling Progressive Congress to intimidate opposition figures and weaken rival political parties before the next national polls. However, the APC has dismissed the allegations, describing them as baseless and insisting that internal crises within opposition parties were responsible for most of the violent episodes being reported. Ms. Damon, do you agree with this one? I mean, this is politics. I mean, we've been talking about politics since morning due to the various incidents, occurring in different states during their congresses. APC, Labour Party, and whatnot. A couple of days ago, our former governor and then former Minister of State, Rotimi Amechi, was attacked right in his home state. A couple of weeks ago as well, Peter Obi was attacked in Edo State as well when he went to campaign. And then in Oyo State as well, we've also seen a series of violent attacks, political attacks. Now the opposition are saying that it's due to the APC. They are trying to weaken its opposition leaders. APC is also saying that, look, internal rumblings within parties, it's not our fault. We are not the one instigating internal rumblings within your parties. So do not blame us for what's happening, for the violence that is happening. But that all trickled down to one then violence in politics. Can't we have a violence-free political atmosphere in Nigeria?
When you look at politics in Nigeria, there are some politicians that's the best they can do. Politics is their A game. They don't have any other thing to offer apart from politics. If you talk about politics, they are very good in the strategy and all the steps they can take. Politics, they are very much good at it. Governance, zero. That's why you have so much energy focused, too much energy there's been so much energy on politics and less energy on real governance. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, the letter I means independent. It means that they should play an independent role. They are not to take sides with party A or party B or party C. And when you look at the opposition parties, they are facing there is a trend. I like to study trends. And when you look at the trends of the rivalry and factions within the opposition party, I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and say party A is responsible or party B is responsible, but what I can say is that it's a pattern among the opposition parties. My message is to the opposition parties: if you want to stand out in the next election, you have to come together as a community and cooperate and work together. There should not be partisan interest, because your priority is about the people of Nigeria, how you can rescue Nigerians from the system of leadership that is so focused on winning elections than governance. Like they have been given the mandate. They are in government right now. Your priority should be delivering for the people, not so much on winning the next elections. Because if you have achieved, the people will support you. There will be a national consensus. There will be a support for your leadership. You don't need to impose yourself on the people. The people will choose you. You don't need to force yourself to the people. The people will vote for you. You don't need to manipulate the system to be there. The people will support you. If they see the good roads, they see hospitals, they see industries, they see schools, they see employment opportunities, they see stable prices, they will support you, right? So my message is for the opposition parties. You people, the opposition parties, must realize that they play a very essential role in the democracy and in strengthening democracy in Nigeria. Because Nigeria, we are the largest black democracy in the world, as they always like to talk about it. But it's not a title. It requires a strong opposition, and it is good for our democracy, right? If we don't have the APC now, they are the ruling party, but they were in the ruling party many years ago, like in 1999, they were in the ruling party. If there was no opportunity for them to come into power, will they be in power? So they must also ensure that they allow the opposition parties to function. You talk about political violence. Political violence cannot be streamlined to just one group. It is spread across all political groups. The question is, Nigerians must realize that to make our democracy strong, to build a strong democracy, all of us must shun political violence. Whether we are in the opposition or we are in government or we are in power, we must all say to ourselves that we want Nigeria to work. Nigerians have suffered for a very long time. Nigerians are crying for true leadership. They are tired of politicians coming to tell them what D and E, and they don't deliver. Whether these people are in the opposition or in the ruling party, what Nigerians want is governance. They are not looking so much about the party, the name of the party. What matters is when you go to the hospital to pay your hospital bills, nobody is going to ask you, do you belong to party A or party B? When you go to the market to buy food for your family, nobody is going to ask you, do you belong to party A or party B? When you want to take your child to school, to admit or enroll your child in a good school, nobody is going to ask you, do you belong to party A or party B? What Nigerians are asking, what Nigerians are crying for, irrespective of the name of the party, is they want governance. Whether it's going to come from the opposition or it's going to come from the ruling party, they want governance. And Nigerians themselves must say, we don't want political violence of any kind. And the young people must tell themselves that we must not be used to perpetrate political violence. When these politicians come to us and say, I want you to go and commit so crime, you say, no, I can't be part of it. I belong to a Nigeria that was. I believe in a Nigeria of possibilities. I don't want to be in a Nigeria where people will be beaten because of who they vote for. People will be killed. People will be injured. Nigeria should express themselves. It is democracy, not a state of thuggery.
Not a state of thuggery, but unfortunately, that's what we've been experiencing, and it seems to get worse as the election year draws closer, especially during the campaign period. We are going to keep experiencing things like that unless we say no, just like Mr. Dama has stated. So, Brantley, what's your message to the people, the people of Nigeria, the citizens involved? Because I feel without their say-so or without their involvement, most of these atrocities would not continue. And also, if the people demand for policies, ask these politicians for policies instead of aligning with their way of politicking, we would see a less violent election. What do you have to say concerning this one?
Okay. Well, first of all, raise concerns about where you highlighted concerning the former governor, Peter Obi, and Right Honorable Chibike Rotimi Amici. You know, they said they're in a of party, but it's actually under a political party, the ADC. Like my president, the president of Nigeria, usually say, they should put their house together. Like they should bring their house back together. If they want to rule as an opposition, they should put their house together. Politics, ruling a country is not an easy job, and we don't take emotionally based people don't rule countries. They don't rule states. They don't rule institutions because they tend to rule with emotions.
And who are those ruling with emotions in this instance?
I'm not actually calling names, but I'm just trying to make you understand that emotionally based politicians don't rule countries. Like the vice president said on a live television, on an interview, he said emotionally based politicians are not supposed to be in politics. They should be selling popcorn on the roadside. They are not. When you rule a state with emotions, you only get the hearts of the people, but you don't know how to play the politics when it comes to the field, because you're coming with the emotions of the people. Okay, when you ask them how many of these your members are have PVCs, if you want to win an election, how many of them has voters cards and come out on election day to come and vote for their preferred candidates? That is what we should be asking of. Can they come out? When most people think playing politics is the things we see on social media where people talk and throw shades at each other. That's not how the politics is played on the grassroots.
So the violence involved in this politicians playing the politics, what could be said about that? Because at the end of the day, it's the people that are going to suffer the outcome of their actions. Lives and properties are being destroyed. These are lives and properties of Nigerians. So in this instance then, I don't understand politics. I mean, Nigeria is not the only political nation. We have politics of the world, but do you see this incessant violence, unnecessary violence keep happening in their political atmosphere?
Violence shouldn't actually be the way to go. If you're, as an individual, if you're moved by violence in politics, I don't think you're going to find your place at the top. Violence shouldn't be the right way to go.
Okay. All right. Coalition Political Action Committee has asked the federal government to either formally charge former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai or release him without further delay. The group warned that holding him beyond the legally approved period would amount to violation of Nigeria's constitution and international human rights law. COPAC made its position known in Abuja on Sunday through its convener Aminu Dati Ahmed. He said the rule of law must be respected at all times and should not be bent for political interest. El-Rufai had earlier honored an invitation from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on February 16th. He was reportedly kept in custody until the 9th of February 18th before he was moved to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission for further investigation over alleged financial misconduct. However, since his transfer, the former governor has remained in detention. We all have rights. El-Rufai has been in custody, and up until now, we've not seen, yes, we've seen some allegation meted out at him, but we've not seen the charges. Like, this keep on investigating, and up until now, he's been held in detention. Do the institutions involved in this have a right to keep him this long, or do you see a political hand being played in this situation?
I don't want to stress much on the political side. I just want to stress on his fundamental human rights as a Nigerian. If you feel he has committed a crime, then let him be charged to courts and let his crimes be made known to the public, not just keeping him in prison. It's not just the case of that. There are many Nigerians that are in prison that have not been charged to courts. They are still awaiting trial. Some of them have been awaiting trial for over 10 years. Some of them have died in prison. But those people have no one to speak for them, so they are just there rotting away. So I just want to use that as a reminder that we as Nigerians should do better in terms of criminal justice reform. Even countries like the United States of America, they're still talking about criminal justice reform. It's a continuous process where you don't just get stopped. You need to continue to talk about criminal justice reform, and it's very important for your nation.
Okay. Brantley, any final words on this one? Do you see a political hand at play in the case of El-Rufai?
I don't think it's a political hand. You know, I'll use the former CBN governor as a case study. You know, when you have issues with the government, there's no person that is above the law. When you have issues concerning misapproval of funds and misuse of funds in the country, you have to face the law. Like the operative said, that he's still under investigation. Let them investigate him and you charge him to court and see what the outcome will be.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Blowout. Mr. Daima, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Brantley, thank you very much as well for honoring our request and coming into our studio today.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X, Atlantic TV Net. Also watch us live on our website, www.Atlantic Television Network. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Open conversation comes up shortly. Please don't go away. Thank you for watching. I am Antonia Arceville.
The board, management, and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2026 Anniversary Celebration Lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enabele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date, Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue, Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time, 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofade, 081-063-41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090-45